So what was your marketing like in those early parts? What were you spending? What were you doing?
And like whenever we first started hiring people,
Yeah.
it was probably like $3,000 to $5,000 a month. And then it was a lot of direct mail. We just started cold calling and texting, and that was basically it. I mean, I don't think we were doing a bunch of other marketing.
Yeah. So you're just doing very minimal stuff. Were you still buying from wholesalers and MLS and stuff like that?
Not MLS. We'd never buy. We still don't buy much off.
Everything
MLS.
was just off market.
Yep.
Got it. So then, obviously you guys start scaling, you start hiring more people. I'm sure you start getting more leads and all that stuff. And, I can just obviously, like, since you've been in the community and the program for so long, you've coached people, like I've just seen your guys' success continue to grow and do more and more deals. And then, I remember, I don't know, it was like 6 months ago, I had the idea of Lead Kitchen, and you were one of the first people to hop on. You're like, I'll try it out. Like, let's see what happens. And tell me about like what it's been like now with just this whole new model.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, you just called me and I was like, all right, dude, I was down in Florida actually at that time. And you're like, all right, dude, I got this idea. And I'm like, all right, let me talk to Tony about it. And then I'm like, yep. Next day, I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
But for me, it sounded like a no-brainer. I'm like, would try it out. And I think your minimum you told me was 10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, 10,000 a month. We're gonna have to turn down some other lead channels in order to make this up. But if it actually works out, this is gonna be a no-brainer. Well, that's exactly what happened. It was a slow ramp-up process. So in the beginning, we were spending about 3,000 a month just on marketing spend.
Yeah.
And they just started coming in. It started probably a little slower in the first week, but then after that, week 2, it just started coming in crazy. And then by week 3, it was just like we were getting, I think, like 70 to 90 leads a month, which was pretty crazy. And then that was only with spending about $5,000 a month on ad spend. And so we didn't even get to our 10, and we were still doing.
You had enough.
Yeah, we were still doing close to the same numbers, and we didn't even switch over to the novation process. We were just running these as regular.
Yeah.
Just regular wholesale, flip, or whatever. It created its own difficulties, which is a good thing to happen in marketing. When your marketing goes so well that it creates other problems, I'm like, dang, that's kind of a good thing. And that's what happened is like it created other issues of like, okay, well now we got these rural areas that people just want to sell their properties in. And then like we have to learn how to basically say no to some people, which is hard for us to do. And I think it's hard for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But basically we had to say no to certain deals because I'm like, dude, we just can't do it. Yeah. Now with the new model of novation, dude, we'll take them. I mean, it's a no-brainer. There's no risk. And so it's like, we're throwing them on the market. We just switched that model about 3 weeks ago. When you told me about that whole script, I was like, dude, that makes so much sense. And so we just adjusted our script, tweaked it. And there's a question that we ask in our script that I'm actually going to go over in the presentation tomorrow is, are you looking for the highest price or the simplest process? Well, before when people said highest price, we used to just push them away and say, hey, we're probably not the right people for you. You need a list with a real estate agent in order to get the highest price. You're going to want this, 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 this. Now we're just pitching novation. So really our script is not that much different. It's just we actually have an option to get the highest price and the simplest process. And so a lot of people say they want both. Perfect. We got the perfect solution for you. But if you want speed and convenience, we also have that too. And so we just keep going back and forth between those two. And so yeah, the novation just really fit perfectly in the script with the lead. I mean, it's been crazy.
Yeah. You were telling me you guys locked up 20 novations in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, now we're having issues with the new process.
We have too many deals to do.
It's like, okay, how are we going to get all these on the market? And so now we have a logistical problem there. So that's what's always interesting. You're always building for whatever problem you're having there.
Yeah.
But my coach always reminds me, a different coach that we have back home is Kelly Bird is his name. Mm-hmm. But he's like, dude, you have to be grateful for the problems. He's like, you should be saying like, hey, we're really busy and we're grateful for it. A lot of people were busy as like a badge of honor, like, oh, I'm so busy right now. And then they kind of like talk about it like they're run down and stuff. And it's like, dude, we want to be grateful for stuff like that. And so I'm definitely grateful to have those kind of problems in order that we got to solve. It's like we got so many deals that we have to figure out how we're going to get them all on the MLS.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you just have a new logistical thing, but I think you guys will solve it here really quickly.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like this massive thing. But well, I think the interesting thing too is like I've been telling people now, it's like, and you know this, every year I just kind of say what I think is the best thing to do at that period of time.
Yep.
So, you've been in the program since 2020. And back then I was like, hey guys, I think you should make some content, man. I think this content thing's pretty important. And obviously it ended up playing out that way. And then, back to flipping, I'm like, you guys need to just flip everything. Like, this market is insane. You're going to make double the profit. Like, by the time you list it, it's just going to be crazy. And then, now I'm looking at the landscape and, I'm always solving my own problems. And I'm like, all right, lead costs are too expensive. Texting and cold calling are dying. There's more regulation. What the heck are people going to do? And so it led me down the path of Facebook ads and figuring it out. And then, then we run into new problems. And I'm like, the rural area problem, I ran into that really quick. And I was like, what the heck do you do with these? Like, you do nothing. And then, we kind of just put them on the back burner. And then, we're doing our old school method of going on appointments and all this stuff. And we got deals, but I was like, man, we're just not locking them up good enough, like how we should be. And then I was like, one day it just occurred to me, I'm like, why don't we just try to close them over the phone right now? The moment they come in, ask them what they want and just give it to them. Weird idea. And they're like, so we're not going to like dig into pain. We're not going to like, nope. These people are motivated. They're submitting. They want an offer now. Like they're different than like somebody who's going through a foreclosure or, these motivated lists that you're trying, or just, I don't even call them motivated because both are motivated to sell. I would call one distressed and one that's just, they're ready to sell.
Right.
And what I realized was, okay, let's just say there's all these sellers. There's maybe 1% of sellers that are actually distressed. And they're like, bro, they have to just take a low offer right this second or they're getting foreclosed on or whatever. But the other 99%, they're motivated to sell. They're just not distressed. And so for them, selling is more just about, I would say, convenience. They're like,
100%.
Yeah, like, dude, I ain't willing to take a low ball. But yeah, I don't want to do a realtor. Like I would like to just get this done with.
Yeah, the analogy that I always use, because I came from car sales, is I ask people, I'm like, hey, have you ever traded in a car? They're like, yeah. I'm like, did you know that they were going to go and list
Flip
that
it,
and then sell it and make money? Yeah, I knew that. Okay. Well, it's a very similar scenario when a person does like want to work with us. They know exactly what they're getting. They know they could get more, but they don't want to go through the hassle of listing it and doing all this stuff. So they'd rather work with somebody like us. And so that's usually the analogy that I use with them. Like, oh, that makes sense.